What's up, everyone? MK Tom Brady here, and it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, but there are a lot of points that I really wanted to make and I think need to be said that never get talked about or said here. Obviously, the MK1 Definitive Edition being announced is the reason why I'm making this video. I want to very quickly talk about the end of MK1. For those that say Ed Boon was lying, that's just ridiculous talk. You know, when he said there's content for years to come, hey, we're just getting started, this is year two. I mean, he meant every word of it. He truly did. The story is kind of left in midway through. I believe they truly planned on finishing off their story. Probably had a Combat Pack 3, more characters, etc. Maybe even more cameos, whatever it may be. And, people above his pay grade, his bosses, that could say, hey, don't forget who owns whose studio here. You're done. No more content. And that's it. And this is probably the first time this has ever happened to Ed Boon, where the reason for this happening was based on sales. We all know it was a financial decision. It was a financial decision based simply on money, that and that alone. It wasn't because MK1 this or MK1 that. WB's decision was based solely on money. But let's not forget that. A Mortal Kombat product, 1 year into its life, they looked at it as, it's not selling well anymore, cut the cord. This has to be the first time this has ever happened to Ed Boon, where early into his game, sales becoming poor, those words ever were said to him. And he had to have been shocked because I'm pretty sure they had quite a lot of content still planned to be rolled out. Now, for those that say, because I'm going to get into some of the issues here, that Ed Boon and this 2-year development window because the game had a lot of problems when it came out. For those that say because I'm going to make some points here, and the defense is, it's this 2-year development window. It's a WB decision. They tell Ed Boon how long he has to make the game. The problem is, Ed Boon traditionally gives himself the same development window before WB came involved. So when they were midway, Ed Boon still was doing the same window between MK1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there were several years in between there. Then MK Deadly Alliance to Deception, from Deception to Armageddon, from Armageddon to DC to 9, to Injustice 1, to MKX, to Injustice 2, to MK11, they were all, obviously MK11 because of COVID in there, but they were all that 2-year window. So Ed Boon, whether it's WB, and obviously while MK11 lived 2 years, its content was cut, 4 years. Its content was cut after year 2. And I believe MK11 probably would have lived a lot longer because its sales were good. But overall, COVID kind of gave it that 4-year cycle. Let's just call it that. So Ed Boon has had the same timeline between games even before WB ever became involved. So this is an Ed Boon thing, not a WB thing. See, Ed Boon is stuck in the 90s, and he's able to keep doing what he does as a formula because the community just doesn't demand of Ed Boon what the Tekken community demands of Harada. And that's kind of the difference here. So Ed Boon's allowed to do what he does and stay profitable, but the main reason why he has been profitable kind of goes under the radar here because everyone's always talking about MK sales. But MK sales doesn't seem to correlate to its offline success. See, other fighting games are judged not just by how they sell, but by their attendance. Mortal Kombat is the only one that is judged only by sales, and the community is like, well, it's a Western game, it's the casuals game, the world has a conspiracy theory against Mortal Kombat where they intentionally keep us down and shove us into the basement. But if you look at their sales, they're a juggernaut. So there's several reasons for things. Ed Boon's formula no longer works, and it has several bad effects. So this formula of out with the old, in with the new, starting from scratch constantly doesn't work anymore. So one, we look at the quality of MK1 per se. But if you look at Injustice, even MK11, MK11 is looked at a far more complete game. But MK11 was really a pig dressed in silk when it was released. And here's what I mean by that. If you're a casual, you don't notice that it's silk, a silk robe on a pig, because when MK11 got released, it had a story mode that was pretty good. It had Shang Tsung's Island, which was freaking awesome. Towers of Time, I loved grinding Towers of Time for skins. I did it all the time. So if there was a skin that I liked, I wanted it, I had to have it. If there was a cool combat card background, I wanted to have it, you know. So even me that played online a lot, I would still do these things for skins. So it gave you things to do as a break from just ranked or whatever it is you were doing competitively, or just the versus mode. So as a casual, you had all those things which were pretty cool. And then you had this custom variation mode as a casual where you could play with your friends. And, you know, day one, you have all these moves to pick and choose. What am I going to put here? What am I going to slot there? And it seemed really, really cool. So if you're a casual player, you have a lot of stuff that distracts you from the competitive side of the game. The actual, you know, I guess rules, competitive rules, quote unquote, side of the game. If you're a competitive player, you realize you got a pig, brother, wearing a silk robe. Because you have two variations to start, and one of those two variations was near unusable. So you're an Aaron Black player stuck playing variation 1, doing back 2-2-2 scud shot over and over and over and over and over again. Back 2 and just scud shot stuff, and back 2 staggers and slides and whatever you're going to do. The competitive side of the game was very bare bones to start off. But because the competitive community is very small and the casual community is very big, a lot of these issues went unnoticed for quite a long time. So while a lot of modes were flushed out when MK11 first came out, the competitive mode was kind of like, we wanted a custom variation system, but we, again, the quote, didn't have the time to get it right. So again, while some things were up to par quality-wise, they still couldn't get to where they wanted to go in time. And because of COVID, they never ended up getting to where they wanted to go with the custom variation system. Now we have MK1. In MK1, the game is very incomplete and very bare bones early on. It had a ton of issues. The reason why this is happening now, and it didn't really happen in the past, is because the standard of a fighting game now is so high, the bar is raised so high that you are no longer able to do that 2-year development window and scrap everything and rebuild everything from scratch and keep that standard high. See, in the 90s, when Ed Boon started it, you could just use the formula like this because, look, you go to the arcade. What do you have? An attract mode that tells the story and then the fighting game mode. That's it. Fighting games now need to have not just a good story mode, a pleasurable playthrough experience of that story mode, some single player content in there to give you several options besides just the versus mode. The production value has to be extremely high of the game as well. There's so many things you have to have, even in the online mode. Online practice, online while you queue and ranked, high quality of netcode. The standard for a fighting game is massive, and the production value of that game has to be off the charts for a fighting game to really cut it today. There is no way you can do that because making a fighting game is now such a big project. It's no longer like it used to be where you could have a 4-man team and make a good fighting game. It's such a major ordeal that you just can't scrap it and rebuild it from zero in 2 years and have everything working properly and have that production value day one. You're going to get an MK1 every single time if NRS keeps the same 2-year cycle. So that's, the method doesn't work anymore. However, the reason why it's profitable, why do they keep doing it? They do it because the community allows it. See, the Mortal Kombat community isn't actually a community. It's several sub-communities that make up the overall greater Mortal Kombat community. So the MK community is a combination of the arcade community, the 3D community, the MK9 community, the MKX community, the two Injustice communities and the MK11 and MK1 community. See, what happens is each community snowballs sales-wise to the next game, but numbers-wise, as far as participation and as far as player satisfaction, do not. So, for example, let's take the NRS era. You have MK9. So MK9, you have people, let's just start it from scratch, the NRS era. People that came in with MK9, and they loved MK9. And then you have MKX. Well, everyone that played MK9, that bought MK9, buys MKX. Now, about half the players that liked MK9 didn't like MKX, even though they all bought it. MKX did the best job in the NRS era of retaining a large part of their previous audience and melding it with the new audience. But either way, you got the money of all the people that got MK9 and the money of all the new people that got into MK with MKX. Then MK11. And MK11, you got the money of everyone that bought MK9, the money of everyone that bought MKX, and a lot of the money of the people that bought the Injustice games, and they get into MK11. Now, a large portion of them, especially halfway through, didn't like MK11. This explains how MK11's sales were so big, but the end of the game was received so poorly, as it was just a bad game, but yet it sold so well. Then here comes MK1. MK1 starts selling great, averaging 1 million sales per month, which is tremendous. But what made it falter is that this is the first time so early into an MK game, the word of mouth around a Mortal Kombat game was this poorly, this quickly. So the reason why MK is profitable is they don't sell the current product. They sell the hope of what that product is. You see, by restarting all the time, most people, they get into an MK game, and usually by the next game, if not the next game, 2 games later, the Mortal Kombat game that's now no longer even resembles the MK games that they liked. And they're like, well, I don't like any of this. This doesn't even resemble the MK I got into. So they bought that game, but they don't like it. What happens is, the reason why the discourse has been so poor with MK11 and so poor with MK1 is while a lot of the MK sub-communities that make up the greater MK community put their money into it, the majority of those sub-communities say, I don't like it, even though they bought it. NRS sells the hope of what the product will be, but they no longer sell the product. Chaos Reigns is the first time the product is the reason that they had to, that the product, and solely the product, had to be the reason why it sold. And we see how people really feel about the new product. There's just not enough new people that like the MK game they came in with to really make it really profitable. You need the money of all the previous MK communities, which make up the greater MK community, but they're all sub-communities. You need their money. Only what happens is people say, well, this is the proof that this game is really good because they all bought it, even though they say they don't like it. And then the Mortal Kombat community. So Ed Boon's formula not only makes it impossible to create a quality product in that 2-year window, Ed Boon also, his method fractures the Mortal Kombat community into sub-communities. So while collectively we are ginormous, if all the sub-communities actually liked the current MK game, man, we'd have near Street Fighter numbers in tournaments. But the problem is we get numbers because the only community that travels for it is the current sub-community of the current game that likes it. And that is what happens. So the community gets fractured, the product quality suffers, and then the MK community is even toxic to each other. We'll take players who say, I don't like this game. It doesn't resemble the MK games that I came into and I like. We then say, you're a scrub, you can't adapt, you're salty because you're not winning. We basically say, it's not true. You do like the game, but you're just salty because you're trash. So you're lying and say you don't like it when you do, but you're just bad. I bet you if you was top, you would like it. No! They just don't like it. The MK community is like head and ass that badly. So they're even toxic to each other. Instead of if Ed Boon was held as accountable as Harada was, we wouldn't have any of these problems. And people would know why the sales, that explains it. That's the only way to explain how MK is the juggernaut of fighting game sales, and they're also the juggernaut of, discontent. Now, obviously, there's Tekken 8, but look how the Tekken community handled it. They came right for Harada's head. We don't do that. You see, with other studios, when they want to innovate and it don't work out so well, that person is held accountable. But Ed Boon and NRS are not held accountable. They can innovate, and if it doesn't work out well, it's WB's fault. You see, Ed Boon and NRS have the ultimate option select. If they hit a home run, look at the greatness. If bad idea, it's WB's fault. And people will say, it's because WB is the publisher, but Namco is the publisher of Tekken. They own it and they're the publisher. Same with Capcom and Street Fighter. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. Ed Boon's formula would still split the community, and it would still cause the product to not be up to par when the game is launched within that 2-year development window. Now, it may have a longer lifespan if it was up to Ed Boon, but the development window and how poor the product is with these gimmicky systems not working out well, that would not change with or without WB. That is just his formula that worked really, really well a long time ago, but it's not working anymore, and he just doesn't see it. And the community will never force him to see it. You have way too many toxic positive content creators. I mean, look, the whole first year of MK1, no, these patches were not good. The game was not saved. No, none of the cameos and none of the characters saved the game. And a lot of the patches were just the bare minimum. It really wasn't until maybe the first month, 2 months into Chaos Reigns that the game started to resemble what it is now. But the first year of the game was bad. We got a lot of toxic content creators that will say now, look, it's a given. I'll admit the game was bad. But for the first year of the game, they didn't want to admit the game was bad. They were saying everyone who was saying the game was bad was salty and they can't win and being negative. No, the game was bad and you guys are a bunch of shills and you're just afraid to bite the hand that feeds you as NRS. NRS will never be held accountable because way too many people are afraid to hold them accountable. The same bullshit formula that is continued to allowed to work will continue to happen until financially it no longer pays off. So you're going to keep getting bullshit, incomplete games with gimmicky systems from now until the end of time. And all the previous sub-communities are going to keep buying the current MK game. The next MK game will more than likely be bought by everyone that played MK9, X, Injustice 1, Injustice 2, MK11 and MK1, and 3-4 months into the game, they're going to say, look at this, 4 or 5 million in sales. And most of those players that bought it, if the game still continues in the trend it is now, will say, we don't like it. It doesn't resemble the MK game we like. But they'll say, shut the fuck up. Look at the sales. It's the greatest. It's the best. And we'll just keep going down this road until finally Ed Boon and NRS are held accountable for living in the fucking 1990s, only it's 2025. They are using a formula that no longer works. Out with the old, in with the new, on 100% of everything, every move, everything, every feature, every system. It's a bad formula that can't work today. It's going to lower the quality of the product day one. It's going to make it so it takes forever for them to ever complete it, and they're probably never going to have that development window because the way things are going now, about halfway through their games, the community, I'm out, and the expansions don't seem to sell well. At least we see with MK1. But they're going to make a ton of money early on. The game is going to be hella incomplete, and the communities will stay fractured. Then you'll have some people from the MK1 community and go, oh, with the cameos, the cameo fixed this problem, now with this. And so the sales will stay good, NRS will stay profiting, and they get to keep doing the same shit they've always done to us. And we're just going to suck it up and eat it. And this is... Unfortunately, I don't ever see this changing. So what I expect for the next MK game, unfortunately, is another short development window of 2 years. They might make Injustice next, but after Injustice, they'll probably do a 2-year window of developing the next MK game after Injustice. The game will come out incomplete, maybe better than MK1, but still incomplete with some gimmicky system, not flushed out, and not totally functioning right. It'll sell well because all the communities will buy it and pay for it. And look at NRS. The sales are great. And I think a lot of the people will say they don't like it and because it doesn't resemble MK1 or MK11 or MKX or MK9 doesn't resemble the MK they love. It's now this. And the same talk of the new community that comes in with the game and does like it. Oh, you're salty. You're a dinosaur. You can't adapt. And what do you mean you don't like it? Yes, you do. It's just going to keep going over and over and over again. It never stops. It never stops. They just are allowed to keep doing it. And we never hold them accountable. If we did to Ed Boon and NRS what Tekken did to Harada, man, shit would change right away. But we never will. Way too many toxic content creators who can't live without doing the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club on Edward John Boone. So on that note, I hope for the best for the rest of you that are going to be here. I obviously won't be, but I hope for the best for Mortal Kombat. As I leave Mortal Kombat, as I leave the FGC, it sucks to see Mortal Kombat in this state, and that I don't know that there's hope for it being better. I hope it is, but I don't really know that that's realistic until something changes. If they continue to do the same thing, it's not going to get any better. They're going to get the same result. So hopefully that changes, but only time will tell. For those who want to know why I took my videos down, it's simple. You guys don't like me. You guys, I thought I was speaking for people that felt a certain way about the games, that didn't like certain things. But what happens is the same people who will voice and say they don't like XYZ, those people will tell you to shut up and move on and stop crying and stop whining. So why am I going to take time to make videos using a platform that nobody cares about, that is obviously very small as well? It's not going to do anything. Why would I do that for people who I think I'm speaking for, who don't even like me, think I'm an idiot for what I say, and want me to shut up and stop crying? So that's why I took all the videos down. I'm pretty much done. And I mean, look, the truth is, I'm considered an idiot. One of the dumbest players of all time, one of the worst Mortal Kombat players of all time. Someone who doesn't know anything, who's a crybaby and a whiner and a complainer. And look, if that's how you guys feel, so be it. I mean, I wouldn't listen to someone like that either. I know what I say is irrelevant. My thoughts are irrelevant. No one cares what I say. No one listens to what I say. And really, with everything I have going on in my life, why would I want to be around an audience that looks at me like a clown? Why would I have anything to say to them or want to be involved in that world at all? So at this point, this is where I take my bow out of the FGC. There are a lot of things I would have loved to do. I have so much history, DOA, Mortal Kombat, history that really nobody knows but me, because nobody was around through all the generations of those games but me, active. Some came, some left, some weren't there, came in now, some were there then, not now. But the only one that knows the full history of a lot of these things is me. And while I did think about sharing these stories, man, nobody wants to be where they're not wanted. And, it's just a thing where, Tom, come back. And then I come back. Shut up. Go away. Moron. Okay, then I go away. Tom, come back. It's a troll you guys do. But, I'm a grown man and I don't want to live in the troll world. I like to live in the real world. So I hope for the best for Mortal Kombat. I hope for the best for each of one of you that have known about me or watched me play in some way, shape, or form over the last 30 years. 40 now, but almost 40 now, but 30 years as a competitor. And thanks so much for all those who enjoyed my content over the years, who enjoyed watching me play, who took anything from it or any inspiration from it. And I really hope things get better for the FGC and for Mortal Kombat.